G'day, let's have a look at these Wera Kraftform Plus 900 range. So these are also known as the chisel drives because they are for heavy duty use. So obviously they're a screwdriver, but the chisel drive comes in because of the shaft. So the metal shaft actually goes all the way through the screwdriver right up to the tip, and then up here you've just got a metal cap which is made for impacting. So that's where the chisel component comes in. These are the heavy duty range. So this is really heavy use when you're going to be demolishing things, working on outdoor heavy duty things, retaining walls, fences, all that sort of stuff where you might have to put it in at an angle and pry something out. This is definitely the way to go. So again, this is the heavy duty range. So a lot of the features are very similar to normal Wera screwdrivers. So for example, the handles, this is just a normal standard range. You can see the handles there are basically the same, just a different color to signify the actual chisel drive. And obviously you've got the cap, which is quite different there. So that's a metal strike one, and this is just a normal cap. So one thing there you will notice is this normal one, actually it's probably better if I grab this. So this is a Phillips 2, signified by that red color, and you've got the 2. So on the VDE series as well, you've got the same thing. So it's actually white, but that just signifies that it's the color of the handle. So that's also a red circle and a red 2. So both of these two are a Phillips 2, and then we've got a Phillips 2 of this, but you can see that it doesn't have any marking on top. So these don't have markings on top like the other ones because of obviously that strike head. And there's no point putting anything on there because after you use it a few times, that will just fade away and you won't be able to see that anymore. Apart from that, they are exactly the same size, the physical size. So that's nice. If you're used to any of these other ones, these will fit right in your hand and you have no problem adapting to them. The only thing is they are quite significantly heavier. And the balancing as well, there's a lot more weight in the handle. So when you pick these up compared to normal ones, you feel it straight away. These are heavier at the front because the shaft doesn't go all the way through. So this is just plastic, whereas this has a shaft all the way through, and then you've got that metal cap at the end as well. So again, as I said, you've got the impact cap. The metal for this is actually tempered, so in order to give it more ductility so it doesn't shatter. So when you are hammering it on the end, it's not going to splinter off, which some other screwdrivers can do. That's why you shouldn't be doing that with normal screwdrivers unless they are designed to actually hammer off at the end. The other really cool feature of these ones is all of them at the front, you've got this hex lip that protrudes out, and then the actual shaft itself is also hex. So that comes in really handy. If you've got a fastener that's stuck and you need to get some extra leverage on it, you can grab some pliers, or these are the Nipex pliers wrench, and just grab it on the shaft, hold that, and then as you turn, you've got this extra pivot point. You can also obviously go up here and get a little bit more leverage as well on the top. So that's good too. Most of these, they do vary in size depending on the size of the screwdriver. But anything you've got, any pliers, you could just grab it with it. Even just some combination pliers in a pinch, you will get less grip with it, but that'll work fine too. One thing that I do like doing with this is you grab yourself some vice grips, and then you can actually just lock that to the front. So you can actually just lock that, and then if you are doing a couple of repetitive things, you've got this whole extra handle built into the screwdriver. Now that's super solid, and when you go to actually turn anything, that'll rotate, and it gives you this whole extra moment to amplify that force. And you really don't have to worry about breaking these. This is really heavy duty, especially the 3 series, so the Phillips and the Posidriv 3s, and obviously the slotted ones. I think this is 6.5. No, this is 9mm, so 1.6. Actually, so the marking here may as well explain that. You've got the 332A, so that's the series number. 32 there signifies that it's slotted. And then you've got the 1.6 here, so that's the thickness of the tip, this way lengthwise. 9mm is the width this way, and then 150 is 150 millimeters of the shaft length. So for example, we'll look at this one. This one's going to be 1mm by 5.5 by 100. So 1mm there, 5.5 width, and 100 shaft. You can see the same thing written on these. So for example, that's a Phillips 2 by 100, so 100 millimeter shaft. And you can compare that. This is 150, so obviously 50 millimeters longer there. Now, as I mentioned before, the handles are the same as the whole Wera screwdriver range. So you've got this high torque area here. So the wider you are from the center of rotation, the more torque you get. So if you do need to get a lot of torque with these and haven't got pliers or anything else to grab the shaft, you want to be holding it here as much as possible to put that force to get it amplified as it turns. So that's really nice. And then down the bottom here, you've got that sort of fast or high speed area, Wera calls it. So if you are just using some of these smaller ones and just undoing some fasteners really quickly, you can just use your 2 fingers. They're really nice and easy to undo that, and then grab or use your whole hand to grab it. So personally, I really like the Wera handles. The 3 kind of notches here are really nice. They fit the fingers really well. The thumb slides in there, and then your palm, and a lot of that force just tends to sit right here on that high torque area, so you can get a really good grip with it. Now the tips for this as well, the tips are hardened, so through Wera's black tip finish, so that's hardened to withstand extra abuse and extra force, because obviously the tip is going to be exposed to the most physical contact, so wear and tear on it is really important. So it's important that that is extra hardened. So that's good. What you see in kind of the black at the end, that is hardened. Again, for comparison, some of the other, this is just the Wera standard range. This isn't hardened at the end. The whole shaft still goes through a hardening process, but it's not as extra hard as that. But what this does is this does have this laser finish, so you can see that etching there. And that etching there is just in order to hold a fastener a bit better. So when you put a screw in, actually that one's quite stripped. When you put a screw in, it just holds that really well. Now, not to say this extra hard one there works really well. So this is a brand new set, so the tips are still really nice and fresh, really no wear to them at all. So they should hold really well, which they do quite well. If you do jam it in there, you can actually hold the whole screwdriver up. Just pivot it a little bit of an angle, you can hold that up, so that's nice. Now, as far as actually using these, they are a little bit weightier, again, as I said, as the normal range of the VDE or really any other range, because of that extra weight in the shaft, but it feels really nice in the hand. They're definitely not too heavy. They're not ones that I'd want to be carrying a full set in my work bag all the time with me. For those, you just grab these ones, or actually if you want portable set, I'd recommend something like this. So this is one handle and you got a whole bunch of interchangeable bits. I'll put a link to this, I made a video about this, so these are really nice. Actually, a thing to mention here is you can see this is also a yellow handle, but that doesn't mean that's the same range. So this is actually the ESD. So that yellow there signifies the ESD, but in every other way, they're the same as the normal general range, not actual chisel drive. So don't confuse that, and don't get a set of these thinking you can use a hammer with them and, you know, you abuse them and use them roughly, especially because of this mechanism in there. But if you do go hammering on this, you will end up damaging this mechanism here, the 1/4 inch for the bits. So keep that in mind. And again, link down below for this one as well. All right, so back to these. Let's just grab a Phillips one. So nice Phillips 2 into a screw head. Screwdriver stays in there really nice. It will fall off because there is a lot of weight out the front, so that pivot point is quite low. But again, this is new, so not worn in yet. As the tips wear out, the hold is just going to get less and less, but they are quite hard, so not really an issue. Again, they work fantastic. You can kind of see there what I'm doing is I'm going on the high speed area, so just using this here, my 2 fingers there, and then kind of my pinky just to hold the shaft in. That's about all I need, and that works really nice. Now, they do feel really nice in the hand. Again, as I said, that weight, but if you are using this a lot, that can definitely get a little bit more fatiguing than the normal range. The chiselness of them, so just to demonstrate that, you can chuck it in, grab a hammer, impact the back. That will work really well. I mean, this is pretty soft pine. But you can see I'm just hammering the shit out of it and not really anything there. So a little bit of marking at the end as expected on the tip from that hard hammer head. But the screwdriver is still completely fine and will stay fine for a while. Now, one thing actually to mention is some of these smaller ones. So for example, this is a 0.6 by 3.5 slotted. This one doesn't actually have that metal shaft all the way through, so you can see at the top as well, it doesn't have that strike head. And you can feel it straight away when you pick it up. You can feel the weight of the handle is a lot lower, but it does still have that hex handle. Although if you do have really small screws like that, you really aren't going to need that much force to get them undone. You can probably just grab it with your hand and turn it. That should be fine. But all these other ones have that head on the top. One thing I might actually try to do is just put a driver fastener in here and just try to demonstrate actually loosening it with extra pliers. Alright, so I've really driven this screw in there. Let's grab, this is a Phillips 2. Is that it? Phillips 2? Phillips 1. Alright, so that screw is really well driven in there. You can see probably about a centimetre recessed into the wood. I can't actually tell on that, so I really can't. But that's exactly where this thing shines. So as long as you put enough pressure down onto it, grab a set of pliers and turn it, and you can see, there we go, that's loosened it up, and I can actually turn that properly now. And that is slowly coming out. It's good to just give it a little bit of a hammer in there. So what you can see is I've ended up stripping that wood through it. So I might just dig into that a little bit just to not strip it, because if I get that wood in the threads too much, it will just end up stripping it. But I can put that in, hammer it in from the back really nice so it's solid, and that'll just help the screw head actually grip into that screw. Now there we go, that's come out, and you can see it's ripped that wood out as well, coming out. So that was really nice. I was not able to undo that without using this extra leverage, so that's where that comes in super handy. Using a Phillips drive probably wasn't the best demonstration of this, because Phillips does came out pretty quickly, so I had to put a lot of force down into it. But again, that's where that back came in really handy, so give it a couple of taps and that just holds it in really well. And any debris that gets in there, so there's little chunks of wood, it just squishes that and it holds the fastener in there really nice. But if you are using, for example, this Torx here as well, or even the Posi-Driv will grip in a little bit better and just won't come out as easy. So if you do use these ones for high torque, that's gonna work much better. Not sure if I actually have the right size Torx screws here. I do actually, these ones are fine, but I think they're really short. Yeah, so they're really short, so there's no point using these big screwdrivers for that. That's actually a nice thing as well, is in order to get that started, you can kind of just use this and just tap it in there just to get that screw started. Although you will not be using such short screws on such short material, because you just can't get that tight and that'll just end up stripping everything. So again, where these shine is any sort of demo work. They will rip anything apart. Really don't have to worry about damaging them. So the other thing that I haven't actually mentioned yet is they do fit in the Wera racks. So this is just a standard Wera rack. You can see these screwdrivers were here on the front. So these are the Precision series. That's for electronics and when I take things apart. But this rack can stand like that, or you could just flip it and actually put any Wera screwdrivers, or really any other screwdrivers, into the back. That way, so all of the Wera screwdrivers fit in here, so you can customize whatever you want. The only thing, actually, some of these holes are smaller than others, so when you do have this VDE series, it might be a little bit thick, so that won't fit into all of them, so you just got to keep that in mind in which one you put it in. But there, so you can mix and match. This is really nice. And what you can also do is you can get these screwdrivers on their own. You can get them in a little felt package, or you can get them with these racks. So this one here is the big set, so it comes with 2 racks and a number of screwdrivers. I'll put links down below again if you want to check any of this out. I'll put a few different ones down there so you can see what you need. But kind of Phillips 1, Phillips 2, Posi-Drivs, and then a couple of slotted. That's sort of my to-go thing, and it's what you're going to encounter most of the time, unless you need specific torques or square drives or anything like that for specific reasons, which Wera also does. So now, I guess the drawbacks of this, we haven't really talked about the drawbacks, and really the only drawbacks that I've noticed with these is the weight. So again, they are quite a bit heavier. They're quite a bit heavier than the normal Wera series. So if you are considering getting a new set of screwdrivers, it really depends on what you're going to use them for. If you want a long-lasting set that will literally last you for the rest of your life, and you are going to do some demo work, maybe you replace a cupboard every now and then, do a bit of kitchen stuff, these ones will be really good. And you're not going to use them all the time, so that's kind of the key feature, because if you do use them a lot, you will get fatigued a bit sooner than if you just use the normal standard range. So that's a bit of a drawback, is the weight. Also, consideration is if you are going to have this in a bag that you're going to carry around all the time, the extra weight does definitely add up. So just kind of think about that, is the weight really is the only drawback of these. Nothing else that I've noticed. They're fantastic screwdrivers. One other thing that I haven't actually mentioned with this yet is the Wera handle design. So all of the screwdrivers have this design up the front. So they've got this lip and this hex design. So the reason that's there is to basically stop the screwdrivers from rolling. So it's an anti-roll feature. As you can see, if you put the screwdriver down, it will settle in. It'll bounce around a little bit. Obviously this is a bouncy surface here as well, but it will bounce around and then it will settle in on one of those flat edges. So again, all of the Wera screwdrivers have that. It's a key feature of their handle design, and I really like it. If you do roll the screwdriver, it will roll on its own. It's not just going to stop immediately, but it will eventually come to a stop. And if you put it down fairly softly, it's not really going to roll. Maybe do a little bit, but then it will settle in pretty quickly. So that's just a nice feature there as well. The other thing is the chisel drives, they have a lot more mass inside the handle. So they have a lot more inertia. So when you do put them there, they build up more momentum and maintain it for longer as they roll compared to these other ones. They're a lot lighter. They will maybe bounce around more, but they will generally settle pretty quickly. Whereas if you get one of these ones, the big ones rolling, it will roll a bit longer. But again, as you can see, kind of doing demos there, it doesn't really matter what you do, they will all come and settle down. So awesome, just another little feature of them. And the handles as well, so this is nice and black, so hard plastic, and then you've got that rubber plastic which is nice and soft, so that's what provides the extra grip. And Wera's obviously really good quality tool, so this isn't gonna go get sticky and all shitty on you like some other cheap tools. This is really good plastic and rubber that they use on the handle, so this will last a long time. Alright, I think that's it. Again, links down below to all of these. They come in different sets and sizes and all sort of stuff, a lot of different range. So I'll put a few links and then just, you know, browse from there if that's what you want. Highly recommend these. Awesome screwdrivers. Hope you got something out of this video. Leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more of this sort of stuff. It definitely helps out the channel. And as always, have a good one.